All right, here's your noon game halftime report for Week 9. Not a lot of great games. At least it looked that way on the noon slate today. We're going to talk about those right now. Georgia, Florida, of course, coming up at 3:30. Some great games coming up in primetime, too. I'll be live on Patreon at 3:30 for the Georgia-Florida game and all the other 3:30 games. So if you're a member of the Patreon page, check over there around 3:15. You'll see the link. Just click the link. We'll hang out. We'll watch all the 3:30 games. And then same thing, YouTube tonight, primetime. I'm going to be live right here on this channel about 7:30 for all the primetime games. There's a link to Patreon in the description of this video. Georgia, Florida at 3:30. But what about these noon games? Oklahoma saved by the weather. Kansas came out on fire in this game. Now, they were at home. So maybe you expect a little bit of a fast start, but I was surprised. I thought after the kind of subpar performance that, let me turn the volume down on this TV. It's bothering me. Everything bothers me. After the subpar performance Oklahoma had last week at home against the bad Central Florida team, I thought they would get it together this week. And look, they still might. There's a weather delay here, and that one was second quarter. But Kansas 14-0 up early in that game on Oklahoma. Oklahoma did score to make it 14-7, and then a lightning delay. So not sure when they're going to get back going there, Lawrence, Kansas, but something to keep an eye on this afternoon. I don't know, how's the weather delay going to affect the two teams? I don't know. It may take some of the home field crowd kind of out of it for Kansas. We'll have to see, but I'd be worried if I was Oklahoma, because that should have been like a wake-up call last week against Central Florida, and they came out of sleep again today. So not a good start for Oklahoma. We'll see what happens there. Florida State all over Wake Forest. It's coming up on halftime of this one now. Florida State 31-7 up over Wake Forest. Wake Forest has beat Florida State, I think, 3 times in a row. It's not going to be 4. Florida State is running away with that one. South Carolina and Texas A&M is a good game, and Penn State, Indiana. Penn State, man, God, you know, sometimes you're just wrong, and I just was wrong about Penn State. They've got talent everywhere. I was all in on Drew Aller. He's not it. And now today, the season basically on the line. I know they lost to Ohio State last week, but technically Penn State could have ran the table. And even if they got left out of the Big Ten title game, maybe you sneak in like Ohio State did last year. But, God, they come out against Indiana today. They're looking bad. I mean, they're up 17-14 at halftime. Very disappointing. They're like a 32-point. Indiana's horrible. Penn State was like a 32-point favorite, and it's just not looking good. I don't know. Penn State, man, I've been a huge James Franklin fan and supporter, and, you know, I don't know. Things just seem flat at Penn State. I don't know. I'm curious how Penn State fans, my guess is that I know a lot of the college football world has sort of given up on James Franklin a long time ago. I didn't. It seems to me like Penn State fans, I don't know what percentage of Penn State fans are like ready to move on from James Franklin. Whatever that number is, it's got to be getting higher, though. It's just, at some point, Penn State's got to get out of their own way, get out of whatever funk they're in. And I know they win 9 or 10 games a year, and the Big Ten East is hard. I get all that. They're too talented to play like they play. I don't know. It's disappointing. It's disappointing. Army's losing to UMass. No one cares. Texas A&M 21-7 over South Carolina. South Carolina's in bad shape. They're 2-5. They're about to be 2-6, it looks like. They're not making a bowl game. I mean, that's obvious. No matter what your expectations were for South Carolina, they're going to come short of that. This is going to be a really bad year for the Gamecocks. They've struggled with Texas A&M since Texas A&M joined the SEC. They play every year, and South Carolina's only beat them once, and that was last year. So maybe not a surprise if they lose to Texas A&M. But, I mean, this just isn't a great Texas A&M team, and I don't know. The third quarter's getting ready to start here in that one. South Carolina gets the ball, I believe, to start the third quarter, so look at Gorilla Man there. A lot of Halloween costumes they're showing at some of these games today. Did y'all see the Ricky Bobby costume the guy had on at the Texas A&M game earlier? Anyway, not good. Not good for South Carolina. Kansas State, which is a team I talked about all week, they're up 28-0 over Houston at halftime. Look, Kansas State and Oklahoma State may end up being a problem in the Big 12 for Texas and Oklahoma. Hell, Kansas might be a problem today for Oklahoma, but Kansas State and Oklahoma State are both playing good football right now. Just something to keep an eye on. I know we kind of just automatically penciled in Texas and Oklahoma in that Big 12 title game. I don't know. A lot of football left to play. West Virginia up 17-14 over Central Florida. That's a little surprising. I thought Central Florida would beat them. I'm not a buyer on West Virginia. I know it's off to a good start, 4-1 or something, but then they lost 2 straight. I don't know. We'll see. SMU all over Tulsa. There you go. That's your noon update. The Oklahoma-Kansas game looks to be, if you're looking for upsets today, at least during the noon games, the Oklahoma-Kansas, at least right now, looks to be the only potential for that. And again, that's in a lightning delay. Not sure when that might get back underway. They're in the second quarter when they delayed it. Kansas 14, Oklahoma 7. Georgia and Florida coming up at 3:30. Rivalry game, the cocktail party game. Georgia's going to put an absolute beat down on the Gators. We already know. There's going to be so many mad people on the internet today because all this stuff, if it wasn't for Brock Bowers, Georgia would be winless. Georgia couldn't win a game without Brock Bowers. Well, you're about to find out how stupid you are. That game comes on at 3:30. I'll be live on the Patreon page. Have a great day.